Okay, it looks like the first Booker's release for 2024 is getting some hype. Not a lot of hype, but I guess decent hype for a Booker's these days. Now, the last few years, the first release of each year has been really mediocre at best, so is this one gonna break the cycle a bit? The Springfield batch is here. Let's find out more. Come right back. It's the Mash and Drum. What's up, folks? I'm Jason C. from the Mash and Drum, and welcome back to the show. Like, subscribe, and help me do all the things to get to 100,000 subscribers for 2024. So before we get started, let's hear from today's video sponsor, a sponsor I love having on the channel. Guys, it's the perfect gift for Mother's Day or Father's Day. It's Original Grain. Well, Mother's Day and Father's Day are upon us, and what better gift to give mom and dad than Original Grain? Original Grain makes watches, sunglasses, rings, and even more inlaid with whiskey barrel wood that inspires connection, creates conversation, and commemorates milestones. Founded in 2013 when brothers Ryan and Andrew Beltran were inspired to create a watch that simply didn't exist. Influenced by their roots growing up in the Pacific Northwest, the mission was to create unique timepieces that seamlessly integrate natural wood and stainless steel. Now, since 2013, Original Grain has created watches with whiskey barrels, beer barrels, Taylor guitars, railroad ties, military surplus crates, and more. They have also made some amazing watches that include exclusive partnerships with Stone Brewing Company, Indiana Motorcycles, Toyota Racing, and yes, even Buffalo Trace. They also just hit 11 years as a company and even made some special commemorative watches to celebrate that milestone. With all these great watches featuring exquisite craftsmanship, this will be the gift that your mom or dad will remember. Take it from me. I gifted a whiskey barrel watch to my mom at Christmas, and she went nuts. She loves it. She shows it off wherever we go, whether it be a family gathering, whether it be a restaurant. She loves wearing it and talking about it, and that's exactly what these watches do. Original Grain is also environmentally conscious in everything they do. For every watch they sell, they plant a tree. Now, in their 11 years, they have removed 250,000 plastic bottles from the ocean, delivered 500,000 timepieces to happy customers, planted more than 600,000 trees, and they're not done yet. On top of that, they are a veteran and family-owned company. They offer free shipping, a great warranty, and amazing customer service. Plus, they also dedicate themselves to helping many veteran organizations throughout the country. Okay, so here's your special offer for mom and dad. Original Grain has a Mother's Day sale going on right now, and using my code MASH will allow you to stack an extra 10% off on anything else you buy. So you can shop for mom, and since Father's Day is coming up, now's the time to get the perfect gift early. This will be the highest discount you will find. So click the link below in the description, head to Original Grain, and use code MASH at checkout, and grab one of these beautiful watches for mom and dad today. Cheers. All right, so as I mentioned, the first Booker's batch of 2024 is called the Springfield batch to honor Booker No's hometown of Springfield, Kentucky. Now, this rural town in central Kentucky is where Booker No was born and raised. He worked on many farms when he was growing up, from the hay fields to the tobacco patches. Now, one thing most folks don't know about the Springfield area is that it was where Abraham Lincoln's legacy began. And beyond that, Booker No is probably one of the more recognizable figures to come from Springfield. All right, the stats for this bottle. So Springfield batch is made up of 5 production dates stored in 4 different aging warehouses. Now, the age is 7 years, 7 months, and 8 days old, and it's 124.5 proof. Now, if you exclude the Booker's 30th anniversary batch, this is the oldest batch of Booker's since 2014. And as always, the SRP for this is $89.99. All right, let's dive in. Let's see if the hype is real. Here we go. The first thing you notice on the nose is the lack of in-your-face peanut or peanut shell that you normally get from a Booker's. This is way more vanilla, caramel, like just classic bourbon notes. The nose has me intrigued because this does not really smell to me like a typical Booker's. Yeah, you have some outliers for Booker's bourbons for sure, but this one is definitely more on the sweet side, at least on the nose. Again, I'm just not getting like that super heavy peanut funk that sometimes you get. Yeah, I'm trying to find one here, but it's mostly sweet. It's mostly vanilla caramel. We'll see how it does on the palate. Here we go. I gotta say, same thing on the palate. It's really not that in your face with the big hefty, dose of peanut or peanut butter for that matter. It comes in actually pretty citrusy to me with a big hint of, like, again, that caramel vanilla. In a world where the tasting notes can get pretty crazy from some brands, and it's just, you know, they call out stuff that you've never even heard of, Jim Beam usually keeps it really simple. It's like vanilla, caramel, oak, maybe some smoke, and that's it. Sometimes you get like a dark fruit out of them, but that's it. They keep it very, very simple normally for their tasting notes, and I feel like this one kind of exemplifies that. That thing is not 124 proof. Oh wait, well, maybe on the finish. You feel it on the finish, but on the palate, this thing actually drinks pretty light. But it's very bright, very sweet, it's very just vanilla heavy. I would say that for the first batch of Booker's this year, I'm not gonna say like it's a hype type, you know, bottle. Like we're not getting into like country ham type of, like of an atmosphere of country ham, but I gotta say this is a very different type of batch than I think we've seen in a while, where that peanut note is kind of missing for me, which really never happens with Booker's. All right, front of the palate, it's very sweet and also very light. You get a lot of like that vanilla caramel sweetness right up front. Not like I'm not really getting like that Pop Rocks effect in the front of the palate. Once it hits mid-palate, that's where their sweetness really kicks in, kind of ramps up with some citrus, some barrel char, and some oak. I think this is a little bit more of an oak forward type of Booker's. I think Booker's has had that in the past, but this is more of a sweet oak profile. I don't know, I kind of dig it. I don't think it's like mind-blowingly good, but I think from a Booker's standpoint, I think it's different. All right, I think I've tasted this enough. Let me think about it and do a final breakdown. All right, final breakdown on the first release of Booker's for 2024. It is the Springfield batch. Price for this one, we have $89.99 as usual. Resale market value, I don't think we have to worry about it for this particular release because like I said, it's not really in one of those higher tier Booker's releases that we've seen in the past. Availability, I'll say is good, even though people still complain about the price for Booker's, I still feel like they sell fast. Value for this one, I'm gonna kind of continue being at the below average. I used to say low for most Booker's, but below average now because I do think the market is kind of caught up to Booker's or vice versa. I just think that there's a lot of low age barrel proof bourbons out there for even a higher price than Booker's. Now, is it high for a heritage release, like a heritage distillery release, considering how good Jim Beam does price their bottles? Yeah, but that's why I give it a below average. Most I paid for this one, I'm not going a penny over retail. Alternatives for this one's gonna be interesting because normally I would say like, you know, Rare Breed from Wild Turkey or a Logic Creek barrel proof type thing. And while those still are good options for this particular batch, I would probably say Baker's. I think Baker's 7-year, which sometimes can be an 8-year or a 9-year age statement, I think can go head to head with this one because it drinks a lot easier. It drinks like it's a 107, a 110 rather than 124 as the label says. And I also think Baker's brings some of the sweeter and a little bit more oak forward profiles that this one is bringing. And lastly, is this a skip? Is it a try before you buy? Is it a buy or is it a buy and back it up? Because this one is so different, I'm gonna say try before you buy. This isn't an immediate buy for me. When it comes to the hype of this bottle that I've heard so far, I think people are loving it because it's such a different type of profile. Again, the more I sip it, I'm not finding a lot of that peanut shell, peanut butter funk that we normally find from Booker's. This is a very light, sweet, easy, vanilla forward, but it's got this oak punch on the back end. So it has a decent balance, but I think it's kind of, you know, if you're a huge Booker's fan, this one might be a little bit too much of a different profile for you, especially if you like that heavy peanut aspect that Booker's brings usually. So for this one, for me, I'm gonna say try before you buy. Don't buy it right away, but if you have a chance to try this before you pull the trigger, highly recommend doing that. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed the review for the first release of Booker's here in 2024, the Springfield batch. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that subscribe button below. Please hit the like button. And if you haven't yet, follow me on Instagram. Let me know what you think about this one. If you agree with me, if you've had this yet, curious what your thoughts are, if you found this to be as different as I did. And like I always say, it's not about the whiskey, it's the people you share it with. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all the things, and I'll see you next time right here on The Master and Drum. Cheers, folks.